Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 23 of Petey's awesome guest panel. My guest at this time is not only a Power Ranger legend, but she is also a legend to all 90s kids growing up. She is a one-of-a-kind actress, one-of-a-kind voice actress, and you may know her as the evil, vile Rita Repulsa. My guest at this time is Miss Barbara Goodson. Barbara, how are you today?
I'm very good. Hi. I'm not using that voice right now. I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, Barb, it's such an
I'm
honor. Like,
hot.
Barb, it's such an honor though to have to do this interview though. I grew up watching you when I was a wee tight kid, and now it's such a true honor. But my first question I got to ask you is, how did you get into acting and voice acting?
Well, I always wanted to perform since I was little. I was Tina the ballerina in Brooklyn, Flatbush, twirling around in a pink tutu. But when I got to high school, my mother wouldn't let me go to the School of Performing Arts. She thought it cost money, and I didn't know. And so I went to regular high school and went to Queens College. And after that, I kind of dropped out. I went to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, and they were not happy about that. But I had the lead in the school play in high school, and it was always in my blood to do the performing. So I went to it's accredited now, but I dropped out of Queens College to go to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, and then I wanted to do Broadway and film and TV, and the reality is you have to excuse the planes. That's Santa Monica. Anyway, shut up. Anyway, so I just found what worked, and one of the things I knew was that I was good with voices and characters. I was always a character actress. I wanted to be the beautiful one, but that wasn't the case. I'm 5 feet tall, 4'11" actually. And shrinking. So I went to that school, and from there, I guess I started doing dinner theater. I got cast in some shows that were in the South, which was kind of cool. Learned how to ride a horse. And then I finally took myself to California. And when I was still young and almost got into a lot of sitcoms, got close. But the thing that seemed to happen was I was doing musicals. I did the show The Crazy Bride Amy and Company, and the bass player had a girlfriend who hooked me up to a voice guy, and I auditioned one of my kid voices, and he got me an audition with Kellogg's, which was watch, Toucan, I can make fruit appear, hocus pocus, and I booked it. And that's when it started. I started to get that stuff. That's the beginning. Then there's anime. That's a whole other story.
And I think it's very cool. Like one Brooklynite to another. Let me just say it's awesome. Like to know that one of my guests representing. Sheepshead Bay is my neighborhood, not that far from Coney.
No, great. Love the seafood. Miss the seafood there.
Awesome. And I do want to get, like, before we get into Power Ranger questions, I do want to ask some of your voice acting, like, animations though. Like, one is Fraggle Rock. Talk about, like, your Fraggle Rock and your memories of it.
Oh, wow. Well, that was incredible because, Townsend Coleman and Mona Marshall and all of us were like, I was pregnant with my son at the time, who's just a little older than you. And I booked Red Fraggle, Wembley. Yeah, I got that role. And that was fabulous because it was a union job. It was good money. And the crazy thing about it was I think I beat out 1,250 people for that role. And we thought, oh, this is going to go for years and years. And it only lasted 1 year. For some political reasons between the studios and Jim Henson. But I found out before he died that Bob Bergen said that I was one of his favorites. the Red Fraggle character. So that was nice to know. I never got to meet him, but I loved Red. I mean, I kind of relate to her because she's kind of spunky and naughty, and I bet she would have come from Brooklyn too.
I had Townsend Coleman on the show recently though, and he said nothing but nice things about like working with you on Fraggle Rock, like said like the interview is like on my page if you want to check it out, like my interview with Townsend. I do want to ask you too about another project that you did, like Barefoot Jen.
Oh my God, that's an anime thing, right? I don't know if I can tell you anything about that. You tell me and let's see if it'll rattle my brain. I know the name. Who was I?
Barefoot Jen, you were Ryuta Kando.
Ooh, probably an evil one woman thing, right? Was I evil?
Mhm.
I can't remember Barefoot Jen. I've had over 500, you know, that I can remember, sort of. So I just know the name. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Another. I'll look
Uh,
it up.
no, but you've also had some, I love most, works. Like, I mean, Power Rangers is definitely one of them. I want to talk more about your voice acting before I get to Power Rangers because I love, as much as I loved you on Power Rangers, I love your voice over work. And Fraggle Rock was one of them. Like, you were also in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Right.
You were
Yeah.
also you were also in the G.I. Joe cartoons.
I'm old.
You were
I've
also
been around since the beginning of in the night. It started in the '80s, I guess, but yeah, GI Joe. It was some kind of a military something or other, and then there was Katie the Caterpillar back then, and Unico the Unicorn. Oh gosh, I did Spider Man. I was the Ashley Kafka. Um,
You're also in one episode. Correct me if I'm wrong here, because when I did research, but you were also weren't you in an episode of Ren and Stimpy?
Yeah, I was the log lady, or I still get like a 4 cent residual from that. Every once in a while, I'll get 4 cents, or maybe it'll go to 40 if I'm lucky.
Now you were
But yeah, the log lady or the something like that. Just one shot, it's amazing.
you were also part of a fighting show like similar to Power Rangers called Beetleborgs.
Yes, Beetleborgs. Yeah, probably. I did a lot of various voices on all of them, even Power Rangers. I was a couple of monsters, and also, well, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I did Beetleborgs. I did a lot. I started with Saban back when they started, so I was their first boy voice. I started with, I think it was Mapletown. I was basically known for my boy voices in the beginning, and then and also the dams, the good, the heroines, because I was young and I was able to do the no, the strong young warrior woman. So I did a lot of those. So I did Mapletown, and then I think we did. I was when I was pregnant. No, after that was Fraggle Rock. But when I just had Andrew, I was booked as Tom Sawyer in the Adventures of Tom Sawyer, and they had to drive me to work, and then I had it's too graphic. I had to pump my milk so that I could do my 4-hour session and get Andrew fed because he was a newborn. But I couldn't start right away. They had to wait till I was, a little less of having a newborn. But I would drive to the place. I'd get a driver, and they'd take Andrew, and he would be waiting in the waiting room with a nanny, and then I would do my Tom Sawyer. That was a great series. I don't know what happened to that one.
And I can't believe this it boggled my mind when I did research like on your character. Like One of the movies you've done though was Kiki's Delivery Service, and it starred I mean, it had the late great Phil Hartman in it, and he's one of my favorite actors. I love Phil Hartman, love him. What were your memories of doing Kiki's Delivery Service?
Well, it's like any of those jobs. You go in by yourself usually, and you're in the studio, and you don't know if it's going to go anywhere. So that was one of the earlier ones as well. And I think I was at some kind of convention or something, or somewhere at a bar where Kiki's was playing on the screen, and I went, "Oh, that's me." I could hear myself. So that's how I know that it's true. I get to look at my credits and I go, yeah, I did that one, because you're going from job to job. It's like being a taxi driver. You don't remember every person that you picked up and took somewhere. It's a job.
Now, did you like get to see like because Phil Hartman was doing that movie too? Did you actually see Phil like while filming on the set?
No, no, no. We were just called in separately. I never got to meet him. I wish I did. And that what happened to him is just, that's just so
Terrible.
sick and sad. Yeah. And there's nothing to say. It's horrible. Yeah.
I agree. Like, and I've grown up a huge fan of his. I mean, I loved his work on The Simpsons. Like when he was, Lionel Hutz and Troy McClure. He was one of my favorites.
I know. He could have been. Oh, there's so much more he was able to do, and
Well,
the
well,
development didn't happen.
well,
Oh,
Barb,
you
much.
freeze? Come back.
Oh, there we go. Well, Barb, much like you, Barb, like Phil Hartman can take the phone book. He can read the phone book and make it entertaining, much like you can.
Well, there's a certain kind of comedian or with improv. Like I worked with Jonathan Winters. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Oh,
He was
I don't.
Robin Williams' mentor, and I loved Robin, but I loved Jonathan Winters growing up, and I got to work with him and Nancy Cartwright on stage in Ohio back before she was even Bart.
Bart Simpson, yeah.
And we were invited to see Mork and Mindy at the time because I was friends with Lucinda Winters, his daughter. And we watched Mork and Mindy and saw Robin and him, and I really loved that guy. And another one, a genius from the past. And I don't think I'm as good as them, but I have that kind of sensibility of wacko-ness, of making something a little bit funnier than subtle. And that's what makes me, it entertains myself. So it used to entertain my family. So being a bit of a mimic. But I could never do what Robin did or Jonathan, where they could jump back and forth and just fly with so much dialogue. I do a little of it, but not like them. They are masters.
I see. And well, now here comes the Mighty Morphin questions. I have to ask them.
Oh,
Well,
Phil, yeah.
as a longtime fan of the franchise, this is definitely going to be so awesome to talk about too. I love talking about voice acting, but I'm going to love it even more talking about Mighty Morphin because when I was younger, I was such a huge fan. I showed you the Halloween picture, right?
Yes, yes. Believe me, I remember it well. My son was in the Red Ranger, that he was the White Ranger. Yeah. And the school wouldn't let me bring the toys because she had this thing about it being a violent show. So unfortunately, I had this, way to help the school make money, and they refused it. So, but I was able to get some toys for a lot of kids.
Awesome. And that is awesome, Bob. And I will say one thing too, like on my first day of kindergarten, I had a red Mighty Morphin Power Rangers lunchbox with a thermos with a it was so cool.
Just you, though. Not many other kids had that.
Yeah, like many of us. And me and my sister had
Yeah,
it. Like, on our
yeah.
first day, my sister and I were huge fans. We had like a lot of I remember the first Mighty Morphin tape I got was Green with Evil, part three.
Ah, ah.
And,
That's a
uh,
good one. That's a good one. And did did you fight the putties when you were a kid? Did you pretend you were fighting?
Yes, that's
I
so
was
funny.
a putty too. We
That I mean,
all did everything. I was,
oh yeah, like
yeah,
my
all
sister,
of I was gonna do putty.
my sister and I used to pretend we were finding the putties for real, like whether it was a pillow, like like we pretend like
Yeah.
the putties were the wall, so we would kick the wall.
Well, see, that's the thing. I would argue with the teacher at the preschool and say they just fight the air. They're not fighting each other. They're the good guys fighting the bad guys. So nobody is ever a putty. Not none of the kids wanted to be a putty.
Oh,
All right, maybe there was one or two, but
but with the Mighty Morphin, can you tell me about like take me there to your audition? Like, how did you get the role for Rita?
I know this story because I told it a lot. But here I used to, as I said, I started with Saban, with Mapletown, and I did Tom Sawyer and many others. Little Women, um, Three Little Pigs. So when they got the stuff, the uh, gig to do, they just gave me Rita, and I was director. They said she's a villain. Do the Wicked Witch of the West voice. I'll get you, my pretty. So I did. I did. Make my monster roll. Sounds like Finster. Anyway, are you still? I think you froze, but I don't know if you can hear me. Hope you can hear me. Can you hear
I can hear
me?
you. Yep,
Okay.
you must have had a
Froze. All right. So I did a market research thing, and people said, "Man, that voice isn't scary." So they fired me. I don't know if you knew that. They fired me. Well, I said, "Well, wait a minute. That's how you directed me. Let me do it scarier." And they said, "No, we're going to do a big audition for a lot of different people to try for her." And I said, "Well, can I audition?" And they said, "Sure." Well, I was angry because, I wasn't given a chance to show what I could do. So I blew my cords out at the audition. I said, "You want it scarier? How about this?" That's how she was born.
very cool. And like, now, now when I think of Rita Repulsa, I think of two individuals: yourself and the late great Mashinko Soga. Did you ever get to work or got to meet Mashinko Soga?
My, no, no, that's one thing I really feel bad about. I mean, I don't know that she would like to have met me because, I think she wanted to do the voice herself, and she wanted to just do it phonetically. She was fabulous. But I took so much from her sensibilities, her sense of humor. And without her being that broad, that was the tip off for me, how crazy she was to match it. And once they gave me the note to be crazy evil, I made her crazy evil, not scary evil. I made it scary, but with a little, you know, humor mixed in, and that's what worked the best. And it all came from her.
Okay. Now, when or why did they replace Mashinko Soga? Like, when did this happen and why did it happen? Like the replacement of Mashinko Soga with Carla, because I believe Carla became the new Rita.
Because they ran out of footage.
Oh,
They only, if you look at the original ones, the footage with Rita, that's why the dubbing was so bad. They had the same footage over and over again with different words in it so that they could move the story uh, line along. So they could make different episodes. So they didn't have enough of her to begin with to continue doing more. So they actually stopped Rita. Rita was gone. And that's when they brought in Lord Zed. Well, people wrote in and said, "Where's that Rita character? We like her for the kids. This guy's a little too sinister." So they went back to the drawing board and brought me back. and I even auditioned as Rita. But they came up, and I'm glad it didn't happen, because when they got Carla, Carla looked like Machiko, because they were both Filipino, actually. Machiko came from Japan. She lived in Japan, but I think she had Filipino heritage, and so did Carla. Carla told me this, so I'm sure it's true. So when she became the Rita, it was to create more new episodes and bring it all here and not use all the footage from Japan because they didn't have enough. So that's how it all got created, with me doing the voice, because they made the storyline. She took a youth potion and became young and beautiful, but she still has that horrible voice because that was already set in motion. That voice was too hard to. They could do the face, but they couldn't change the voice because it was already set in the kids' minds.
Now, with like when you got to work with the late great Robert Axelrod, what were your memories working with him?
Robert's a brother. Robert was family. We go back to, again, with Saban. All of those shows I mentioned, he was on too. He did many villains on Power Rangers, as well as Finster and Lord Zed. Robert and I were the same age, went to the same college at the same time, Queens, didn't know each other, met later, found out, and lived so many years. You know, we weren't social. We weren't social buddies. If I had a big party, of course he was invited, but we didn't hang out necessarily. But we were family, and I'm still mourning him because it's still new. Just happened, I think. I don't know how long ago at this point. And I was with him. Yeah, it happened last year. Wow. You know, I'd go visit him, and we were still talking about when he gets better and everything, but it was clear it wasn't going in that direction. But what a talent and what a dedicated actor, and boy, did he love his fans.
I wish I got to meet him because I grew up watching, like much like you, I grew up watching him as Finster, Lord Zed, and just like the way like you two did the voices of Lord Zed and Rita together interacting, it was so funny. It was like a funny like it was a married couple because Rita and Lord Zed did marry at a Jewish wedding because it was a Jewish themed wedding, which was one of my favorite episodes.
Come on, yeah.
I love that episode. No, but it's like the you two had like dynamic chemistry together, like both you and Robert.
New Yorkers, hey, you yell at each other. That's how you show your love, right? Shut up.
Yeah.
No, you shut up.
Hey, I can relate. I'm a New Yorker too.
Yeah, we're loud. We're very loud.
And but when you were doing recording, would it be like you and Rob in like a act like a voiceover booth, like doing the roles, like going back and forth with each other as Lord Zed and Rita?
No, no, it was always single, but sometimes we would hang out. We would like cross over, or if we were doing extra walla, you know, like as I said, the putties or a monster. He would sit in a corner on the floor waiting for me to be done. I'd sit and wait for him to be done. We had to be very quiet because you can't hear background noise when you're doing. That's why you're in the booth by yourself. And then we'd go out and have, you know, something to eat together, hang out. Yeah, it was a family, and Kerrigan too. You know, Goldar. He and I are still buddies. You know, we talk all the time. In fact, you might want to have him on because he loves to talk.
I love to have him on, like any kind of Power Ranger. So far, Barb, I've had as far as Power Ranger stuff, I had Nakia on here, Nakia Baris. I've had her.
Uh, oh, I just did her movie. Yeah, we do. Never mind. I'm not supposed to talk about it. There's a movie that we're trying to do together.
Oh, okay, cool. I've had her. I had Vernon Wells, who played Rancic in Time Force. I've had my good friend Amy Roll, who played Trakina in Lost Galaxy.
Beauty.
I had Kat Brown, Katrina Brown, who played Capri in Ninja Storm. Have a thing for villains. I noticed that most of the Power Ranger cast members are always villains. I have a soft spot.
It's more fun, you know? It's more fun
Absolutely.
to be the villain. Well, Nakia's not a villain.
She's the only one that wasn't. Everyone else was. I have a
Yeah.
soft spot for the villains. Like as a kid, I would be like, as a kid, I'd be booing you, like booing, like Rita, Astronema, Lord Zed. But as an adult, I'd be like, go Team Evil.
Well, we always lost, you know? Anyway, they're not kids anymore. It's amazing to see them. They look great. You know, Walter and David and Jason Frank and Austin. I saw them at the conventions up until February, I guess.
It's very cool. And I also, well, in Brooklyn, they actually have a Power Ranger convention here. It's called PowCon. And I got to meet some names. I got to meet Steve. Who played the gentleman that played Rocky? Steve Carderas, was that his name?
Yes. Yeah.
I got to meet him. I got to meet Justin Nemo, who was Zane in in Space. I got to meet Roger Velasco, who played Carlos in Turbo.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and Christopher Kamen Lee, who played Andros in Space.
Ah. I think I saw all of them at at Ranger Stop a couple of years ago.
Very
Fun.
cool. And
It's fun when they have us all together because we're funny and they make me laugh. I mean, Bulk and Skull, Jason and blanking out Paul Schreier and Jason Narvey.
every time I heard their music come on, where it goes boom 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 boom,
They should have had their own show. We all think that. It should
I
have been a spin-off.
they should have. There should have been a Balkan Skull spin-off. I totally agree. Like,
Funny.
did you have a favorite? I mean, you've done many episodes as Rita Repulsa. What did you have a favorite, or at least top three favorite episodes?
I think the wedding was one of my favorites. I think the green, where I almost made the Green Ranger, I almost won, was the other one. And some of the old ones, I guess in the beginning, just yelling at Finster was fun. I can't remember the name of episodes, but just being able to say, just release all that pent up anger. It's great. It's great for women who are going through menopause.
Now, there were three episodes I was always terrified as a kid. Like, I would get so scared, I would literally not. I would just turn the channel because I was so afraid to watch the episodes. One was Power Punks. Yep, one was Power Punks with the Terror Toad, where he devours all the Rangers. Like, I was so terrified seeing that as a kid.
Oh, you poor little kid.
I was scared of that one. I was scared of the one, remember, with the gnome, like with Trini's doll, where he captures stuff in the bottle.
Oh yeah. That
And
was
the
scary.
and the other one, and I actually told Catherine Sutherland this one time too. Like, I told her, like, when she appeared in the background and took control of the Falcon Sword and knocked over and took over the Falcon Sword where the Tommy was in and gave it to Lord Zed. That was like one of the scariest moments in Power Ranger history.
You're a silly little kid, you. But you're a kid. I had a story that's kind of funny. Back, we did a fundraiser, I think, at Target, where we were just there to raise money for Make-A-Wish, I think. And I did the voice with this kid that was probably 4. I said, "I'm Rita!" And he cried. He just like went, big tears. 20 years later, I'm at a convention, and he said, "I don't know if you remember this, but when you were doing something at Target, you made me cry." And I said, I held on to that guilt for years. I am so sorry. And he said, "Oh, no, it's a fond memory, in my family." And so I did the voice for him, and he went, "Oh," just as a memory. And so it was full circle, it was just adorable.
Oh. I do want to ask you, how is it different doing Zeo, Turbo? Because Rita did appear a couple times in Zeo, I believe Turbo, and in Space. How is it different than working those series than the Mighty Morphin
You mean as Rita, those series, or as Orbis and Sprocket? Because I was
uh,
Orbis and Sprocket.
as Rita Repulsa?
Well, I'm just, like, give me the job and I'll follow the script. I'm a worker bee. So I don't, I think I have my heart is connected to the original. Um, I like connecting with a lot of different people, but I can't say my preference was the later ones because in the beginning it was all new and shiny. We were going to the Universal and it was such a big explosive um, success. So when we were going later, it was like, oh, we're doing this again. It wasn't as exciting for me, but it wasn't bad.
I see. And because I want to, talk about not just Rita, but I also want to talk about, like you said, Orbis and Sprockets. Could you talk about like voicing, playing those characters?
The only reason I got them was that they didn't tell them my name. We auditioned by number. So I was number 7 or something, and I would go, ooh, oh, this, ooh, whatever. And they just said, we like those two voices the best. So I scored, out of them not knowing they were booking me for 3 characters. I was doing well in the little bit of time with that company, doing all 3.
I have to ask you too, like, because I watched this the other day though. There was a promo that for Fox Kids that Rita did and Divatox, who was played by Carol Hoyt at the time. Like you did like this promo thing on Fox Kids. Like, do you have any like memories doing that promo? Like it was like it was Rita and Divatox sitting at a table and they were cutting like a promo. And like I don't know what it was about, but it was funny. Like I'll send you a link to the promo as soon as we're done with this interview. But do you have a
uh,
recollection?
no, I think they may have cut because they did some shifty things where they would edit and cut and not pay you anything. That may have been one of them because I think they taken my voice, lifted my voice for some video games without, you know.
And
Yeah,
hey, I mean, I love like even after in space, you still continue to do Power Rangers. I believe you played a monster for Lost Galaxy and Time Force and Wild Force, correct?
oh yeah, I did a couple. I should have done my homework. I mean, I know that fans will tell me what I did, but I was the bottom half or the top half of one monster, and I did about 3 or 4 monsters with Power Rangers as well.
I see. And now, what would you say would be like, a favorite? Do you rather play the hero or the villain? Because if it was up to me, like I believe that playing the villain is way too much fun.
Yes, I would rather be the villain because the villain gets to chew the scenery, and the hero is pretty solid and straight. Has to be just real mellow, and that can be boring. Although being evil can be boring. I like to do the cutesy little characters like Bobby Bear and some kind of a strange little animal too. A cute, like I did this show called Cloud Bread, and I was a very, very calm, shy sheep, Woody the sheep. And then I was, oh, what's his name? Ruiz, unbelievable. I was a little fox. So I like to do that too, to mix it. It's like food, you get too much meat in you, you want some dessert, right? sugar sweet. But if I did saccharine stuff all the time, it would drive me crazy. But I do like to mix it up.
Now with Power Rangers though, like how many like hours a day was it like working on the set like for Mighty Morphin?
Not long because I was voice, so I would pick up like 4 episodes in a 2 hour span of time. Just go in for the 4 hours. Driving to Valencia was the problem, but but getting there, you know, it wasn't like being on camera. On camera, and thank God, I handed to those women that wore that head. I wore it once, the boobs and the headdress. And I'm so glad I didn't have to do that because it was heavy. I have neck problems now if I did that.
I see, and I do want to talk about like as far as movies though, because when I think of 1995, I think it's the year of it was Barbara Goodson's year and the rest of the Power Rangers cast year because this is when Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie came out, and as a kid growing up, like you know that like I had so much excitement. Like there was like so much things going on in 1995. I believe Little
Yeah.
Rascals came out that year. Um, who Shot Mr. Burns in The Simpsons was a summer like mystery that we were all trying to figure out. And then of course there's the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie. I
A
wanted to get,
movie.
I wanted to get your thoughts like filming the movie, like any kind of stories you have like about filming the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. Go take me there.
Well, the backstory is 20th Century Fox got the movie and they were going to make Boku bucks. And again, with that company, they were paying us very little. And as a group, we turned it down at first, and they tried to replace us. So they did. They replaced Rita and Goldar and Lord Zed. And the fans, God bless you guys, came and said, those aren't the voices. So we went back and negotiated with our agents and got a decent salary for doing the big blockbuster movie. So that was one thing. Then we went into 20th Century and recorded it. And the guy that was directing us, it was kind of silly in a way. He was telling us what our characters were like. Like we hadn't been doing it for like, don't worry, I got this. You know, you don't have to tell me how to do this voice. I know how to do this voice. I am the voice. What are you, crazy? So, we just looked at each other like, okay, let's just let him direct us. Yes, yes. So be loud. Okay, I'll be loud. Be scary, but not too scary. Okay. Anyway, we weren't there that long. We did like maybe 2 sessions in that cool studio in 20th Century Fox. Huge, they had the, fancy studio. So that was all glamorous, that part.
Very cool. I remember too going to the movie theaters that day, seeing the movie, and there's so many fun, like it was an awesome movie. I have the video game too for Sega Genesis. That's how much of a fan I was. There was anything that Power Rangers had, I would definitely get, whether it was an ice cream, whether it was a video game, whether it was a board game, because there was a board game for Mighty Morphin, and there used to be this thing. My parents got me. It was Power Ranger, like there were rubber balls that you could bounce, and it had a picture of like it had Billy on it as the Blue Ranger, it had Kimberly, and it was so cool. And then my cousins had the Power Ranger soaps too. It was so cool. They actually
Yeah.
had Power Ranger Mighty Morphin soaps.
But they didn't have a Rita action figure until like 10 years ago or 7 years ago.
You see, that sucks though, because she was not only the first, she was the main villain. Like she was the first ever. This is why you are a part of history as far as Power Ranger history, because you are the first ever. You and Machinko, did I say that correctly?
Machiko.
Sorry, Machiko Soga were the first ever Power Ranger villains ever.
Well, it could be that she was a face and they didn't want to do a real live person face. And then when she passed away, they were able to do the face. And the reason I have this is because J.C. Alcantara is a fan and an artist, and he gave me this, and it's beautiful. It's just
And
beautiful.
details so amazing.
I know he's a talent, and this comes out, and
Even her
it's just
staff.
yes, yes.
Now, Barb, you were also part of, albeit like it was like a minor role in the Power Rangers Turbo movie because I
Yeah.
remember. What were your memories doing the Turbo movie?
That was a quick one-shot deal. I went in and said, "What are you waking me up for?" Oh no, did I wake her up or did she wake me up? Yeah, yeah, she woke me up. Who was that? Um, who's the actress that did that one? That was Diva Talks, right?
There was two, yeah, there was two Diva Talks. One was Hillary, who was the one that played her in the movie, and then there was Cal Hoyt, because I believe Hillary was on maternity leave. I think that was the reason I'm not.
Oh,
And then Cal Hoyt got the role for like I think 34, 35 episodes, and then Hillary came back.
ah, yes, that pregnancy stuff. That'll do it.
And
Yes.
oh, but I like when you said that like one time like when you said you at a Target like you made a fan like with the Vita
Hey,
voice. It's so funny because I was watching a YouTube video like of a panel at Morphicon and Carol Hoyt explained that there was a time where like her son or one of her kids was having a birthday party and she on the phone like was pretending to be Divatox and the kids got scared and then because Carol Hoyt played both Divatox and Demetria, so then she
uh-huh.
switched to pretend like she was Demetria saying everything's okay, like she like that
Yeah.
was awesome.
My son used to tell the kids at school that that's how I yelled at him. I said, "You're going to get me arrested. Stop that. It's not true. I don't use the Rita voice on you. Stop that." He just would laugh and say, "Yeah." He was a
Did your son ever like go like and ever say to his friend saying, "My mom is Rita Repulsa"?
Yes, he did, and it happened when we were. Well, he did it when we were on vacation in Mexico. He told this kid he was swimming with, and the whole family kept swimming up to me while I was reading, saying, "Do the voice, do the voice." And I said, "Andrew, don't." The kids knew me as Rita. I would go into the schoolyard, and they would go, "Barbara, Rita, I'm gonna get you," and I'd say, "Oh no," and they would say, "Do the voice," and in fact, when it was show and tell one day and Andrew was supposed to do, um, he had a cat named Milo, and Calvin was his bearded dragon lizard, and he said, "Just do me a favor, Mom. Don't do the voice. This is my show and tell." I said, I'm not going to do the voice. I'm not going to do the voice." And so he did his whole thing. And he said, "Are there any questions?" And the kids raised their hand and said, "Did your mom do the voice?" And he looks at me and he goes, "Go ahead." So he's my kid. He's like, he said, "I wish you were the Pink Ranger, Mommy." Nobody's ever satisfied.
I that's funny. Like, and I did watch like some clips. Like, there was a clip on YouTube of Morphicon 2016. It was a villains panel, and I remember you were there. Carla was there. Latham, who played Mesogog in Dino Thunder, was there. Amy was there. I think Melody Perkins was there.
Wow.
Um, and I just remember when you introduced yourself, you're like Barbara Goodson, Rita.
That's the way to do it. You start, quiet, and then you go into it. Yep. I
Uh,
don't know where she came from, but I'm happy that she showed up.
I will say this too, Barb. If I was at that panel before I would ask my question, I would say to everyone that was on the panel that day, I would have said, first off, let me just say before I ask my question, I just want to say thank you all for not only coming, but thank you all for the countless memories you gave me as a child, watching each and every one of you during the different franchises growing up. And I would say, Barb, Carla, I watched you when I was like 5 years old. I watched Melody when I was 8 years old. Like and it's like so much nostalgic for me. Like, I thank you for the memories.
Oh, we are just very grateful that we were able to create that for you and have those memories ourselves and the friendships that we have and
Absolutely. And
do what you love to do, you know. Very blessed. I'm blessed.
anytime, like, and Barb, like I said, like, and on a voice acting level, you are, I say that you're like, as far as voice actresses, you are like some of my favorite voice actresses, like Susan Blue, Tress McNeil, uh, June Foray.
Oh,
Um, like I put you in the categories them. I really, because your excitement, your passion when you do voice acting, you could see it. And just like I said with those women I mentioned, whether it's Tress McNeil or Susan Blue
oh,
or I'm trying to think of another name, BJ Ward, like all those
Jay
names.
Ward, yeah. All those oldies. Uh,
Oh, they're legends though. Especially like when I see you, I think like like I think of like you and Tress McNeil are very very similar. Like, and I'm a huge fan.
yes, I know. She does all those nasty women, sophisticated, bitchy women as well. Yes.
The voice of like earlier where it was sounded like a little boy. I compare that to like when Susan Blue did that too. Like you're very much. I mean, you and Susan Blue are very similar. Like you could go from a baby's voice to like a little kid's voice to a mature woman's voice to an elderly woman's voice. Like the levels and like the evolution of the voice are incredible. What you and Sue do.
She's great. She's just an incredible talent. Yeah, and I love doing all of them. In fact, I think I'm doing a movie for DreamWorks. I don't know if I'm supposed to let you know that. I think I
If
did
you,
sort of mention.
if you don't want to tell me, it's okay. Like I no pressure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's going to be out in a year or so, but it's a cool old lady in The Bad Guys. That's all I'll say.
Now, I do want to ask you though, Barb, too, because in 2017 there was a new Mighty Morphin's Power Ranger movie with Elizabeth Banks playing Rita Repulsa. I wanted to get your opinion on like that the movie not only the movie but how Elizabeth Banks portrayed Rita Repulsa.
I think she did a great job because to do an icon and change it and make it your own is a tough gig. And she found a way to make Rita, I mean, that's the choice they made to make her green and sexy and different, more sinister, more evil. The only thing I wish she threw away Make My Monster Grow at the end, and I wish she had put more oomph into it. Now, I tried to get a cameo in that. I wanted to do a homeless person in a alleyway, um, doing my doing the voice, talking to myself, and have her zap me and say that woman's giving me a headache. I thought that would have been a nice little shout out, but they didn't bite. Thought it was funny.
Did you did you have a favorite like a favorite thing that Rita Repulsa said?
I think I Have Such a Headache was one of them, and Time to Conquer Earth. I mean, I those are the four main ones: are Make My Monster Grow, It's Time to Conquer Earth, Get Those Power Rangers, and I Have Such a Headache.
And you know what I loved about Rita too? I love when you say when you said, I'm getting such a headache," because it's so real. Like it's like a person like she's can relate to some people. Like I could see Rita Repulsa being one of those realistic villains like you can relate to in real life. Like whenever she sees the Power Rangers, she goes, "Oh, these guys again."
Yeah, because she never won. She never got to win. Not fun to lose all the time.
I do want to ask too, Barb, about like because I had Sabrina Liu on here who played Scorpina, very nice woman.
Oh,
Uh, what was it like working with her? Because her and wasn't there like another person that portrayed Scorpina prior to Sabrina Liu?
Wendy Lee, my girlfriend. Wendy Lee. She's fabulous. No, she did Alpha 5. No, she was Scorpina. She was the original Scorpina, but not in the costume. See, this is it. The thing, we didn't get to know these people till we went to the conventions because we were the voiceover people. They were the on camera people. So there was no need for us to meet. They were doing their schedule, we were doing ours. But Wendy Lee is a voice actress. I mean, we're other than voice actors, but that's where our career took us. Robert Kerrigan, me, Michael Sorich, who plays Skull. Bulk. No. Which one is he? Squat. Squat and Babu.
Babu.
Yeah, Dave Mallow, and Mike Sorich. These are my buddies. This is my family. This is my voiceover family. As far as the other people like Walter and Amy, Joe, and all those people, that was their family. They were in their own little.
That was the hero family, right?
They were on camera filming their bodies and everything. We were in a studio doing our voices.
You had, and also I gotta say, Rita Repulsa had such the funniest, minions ever. Like Babu and Squat, like I would see them, like like Squat was like,
Michael is a comedian beyond. He's the funniest guy and talented, and both of them. They're just so many talented people. It's amazing. But you wanted me to do some shout outs?
Yeah, if it's okay.
Sure. Should I do that one just now? Are we ready for it?
Yep, we're ready. I'm recording, so.
So just go let me get their names again.
Mark, Brett.
No, I don't need to see it written down. I need script, darling.
Sorry.
I need script.
Sorry.
Now, where did I find that? Talking about the cyclone and
It's so good to fellow Brooklynites.
Yeah. Here we go. Okay. This is a shout out to your friends. This is Empress Rita, and I'm calling Alyssa, John, Alex, Mark, Brett, and Nicole, and telling you to get those Power Rangers!
Awesome, that was fantastic. I loved it, and they'll love it like too. Like now, let me ask Rita something. Does Rita have anything to say to Trakina?
Okay. Hey, Trakina, or sometimes Amy, whatever you want to be called. I love you, girl. You're beautiful and you're talented. And why haven't we worked together to get those damn Rangers already? Ha 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 ha! Let's do it! Yeah! Is that loud enough?
Absolutely. Thank you again. Now, before we conclude, Barb, because it's an open forum, you could say anything or talk about anything you want. The floor is yours, Barb.
Well, I just want to thank my fans for still being my fans. I want everyone to stay safe. I want everyone to vote, guys. I'm a bit of a person who believes that's important. A bit of a person. I'm a person who believes that's important. So just hang tight. I know some of you don't think it's all real, but I know too many people who have suffered from this COVID thing. So it doesn't hurt to wear your mask. That's all I'm saying. And I love you because without you, my life wouldn't have been as rich and rewarding. So everybody, thank you very much and take care of each other.
Awesome. And Barb, before we conclude this interview, let me just say not only thank you for this opportunity for this interview, because it's a true honor for me growing up watching you. What you are clearly like one of the most charismatic, underrated, actresses and voice actors I've ever seen. And thank you for not only doing this interview, but thank you for the timeless memories you gave me as a child, watching Power Rangers every single day on Fox Kids after school, or if I was at home Saturday mornings, because Fox Kids ran Saturday morning programs, which I loved. And hearing like you every single day, like at 3:30, hearing you scream, "Ah! After 10,000 years, I'm free. It's time to conquer Earth." Like just nothing but pure awesomeness and memories. It makes me feel like I'm a kid again. Like it just makes me take it takes me back to that
You
uh
are a kid.
like awesome time. You are definitely not only a Power Ranger legend, but you are a legend to every single '90s kid growing up that watch not only Fox Kids but watch Fraggle Rock, watch Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. You gave all of us '90s kids, and I don't mean to speak for the '90s kids, but I am going to say this though, like that forgive me for babbling, but this is just this means saying really I'm very thankful for this opportunity.
Well, it's been an honor, and you're wonderful, and you're doing a great job, Uncle Petey.
And
Keep it
uh,
up.
thank you. And can I conclude with a little chant though? Like, and you definitely deserve this one. That thank you, Rita. Thank you, Barb. Thank you, Rita. Thank you, Barb. Thank you, Rita. Thank you, Barb.
Thank you. And she thanks you too.
Thank you so much, Barb. You have an awesome night, my friend.
You too, sweetheart.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.